Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm going to be making over and reorganizing my pantry in this video, as well as my junk drawers, and giving my kitchen a full deep clean. This video is a compilation video and it is here to give you uninterrupted motivation to complete any tasks that you might have on your to-do list. So without further ado, let's get started. To start this video by showing you what one of my pantries looks like. I had some form of organization in my old pantry, but then once the kitchen was done back in October, because it's been so many months, we were eager to just get in, so we just put everything back in, didn't really have a chance to organize it. So here are some of the items that I had purchased for this organization. I did buy all of my items at Dollarama, and I'm going to be using some of the things that I have on hand at home. So these little mason jars I intend to use for the spices, so just the smaller amount of spices that I have. They were $3 for 4, which I thought was a pretty good deal. And then I also got these glass jars with metal lids, and they were all $4. They're just larger and fit more things than the bamboo ones with the lids that the Dollarama carries, which I use for some of my spices that I have a large amounts of. And then I also picked up the clear storage bins. They were $4, and the white ones were, I think, $2.50. So I'm gonna start with clearing everything out first, and then I'm going to clean it out. So if this is your first time stopping by my channel, my name is Sonja, and on this channel you will get tons of home decorating ideas, as well as decluttering, cleaning, and organizing. So if this is something that you like to watch, I would love it if you consider subscribing and becoming part of my YouTube family. So I just want to show you a little close-up of what these shelves look like. Like I said, we had our kitchen done. The process started last year. I think the first thing that came out was sometime in March when the demolition started. And then we didn't get everything done until probably middle of September. I know still at Christmas time we were dealing with some issues in the kitchen, but just minor issues, things that we noticed that needed to be replaced. But I moved into my kitchen in probably end of September, beginning of October. So there was a mad rush just to get everything placed back in, instead of actually taking time to organize it. I'm using method all-purpose cleaner to dust my shelves, which I just showed you. So as I was saying, it was a mad dash to get everything placed back in, so I didn't really have a chance to organize anything. The only thing that I did, which I did not share, was I purchased a whole bunch of those glass jars with bamboo lids, and I put my spices in it, the ones that I use the most. But that's it. So I decided to organize this. Now I did not want to spend large amounts of money on all the different jars and containers, since I had quite a bit on hand already. So I just, like I said, shared what I purchased, and then I also am going to be using a lot of mason jars, which is what I used prior to in my old pantry, and it worked really well. So I wanted to utilize some of that as well. And I also forgot to mention the one thing that I did do before I moved everything into this pantry. I bought shelf liners. I did some research, and I found ones that I thought were going to be good, and I purchased these at Dollarama. They also had larger rolls on Amazon, but I felt after pricing everything out that Dollarama was a better deal. Now I'm going to take some of my seasoning, spices, and other things that I had in my pantry and transfer them into different glass jars. I'm slowly trying to transition everything into glass jars, but that can get a little expensive all at once. So I am slowly replacing plastics. I'm pretty much down to the large containers that I need to replace. So I'm pretty happy about that. And for labels, I am going to be doing, I have this tape. It is a chalkboard tape kind of thing. And then I'm just using a chalkboard marker to write everything on, and I'm putting that on top of the lids because of the area that I'm thinking of putting these jars. It's easier to have labels on top rather than at the front. I really like these glass jars with these nice lids. I don't know what these are called, but they are so expensive here in Canada, and I had managed to find some at a thrift store. They're a little bit smaller than I would like it to be, especially for flour. So I would still like to find a larger one, but for now it's working. I was using it for some quinoa, but I never really filled up that jar with quinoa, so I transferred that one into a smaller container, and then I'm using this one for the flour. And then the other one that I thrifted, I'm using for rice. I got these a while back, and I paid $5 for each of them. The ones that I really like they start at $20 for a smaller one. So my thinking for these pantries, I'm going to use this left one for savory snack things, and then and like breakfast stuff, and then for the right side it will be, no, sorry, the left side will be for more sweet and baking and breakfast, and the other side will be more for cooking and cooking supplies. I think it's just easier to have spices and things organized this way if I group them into certain types of food or type of time of eating, like the breakfast shelf. Then I have a bread shelf, and then the bottom ones in the jars are things that you would typically add to baking or to your breakfast foods type of things. It's just the way I thought it would be easier to organize things. On the top shelf, I'm doing extras, overflow of like in those white baskets. In the one white basket has extra flour that I have, and then the second basket just has some dog stuff. And then right over on the top are, again, more items that I have more of. So here is what it looks, and I do love it. There's still room, extra room for things, which I want to go get another white basket where I can put things like granolas or any snackish type that the kids, we don't do a lot of snacks, we're more fruits and yogurt for snacks, so I don't have a lot, but I am restarting my home daycare, so I am going to be needing a little bit more space for organizing those type of snacks. Now I'm moving on to my right side of the pantry, and I thought this top part, I'm going to lower the top shelf down, and I'm going to use this area for my cookbooks and my recipes. And since my counter was so full still from other items, even though this was the next day, I am going to work shelf by shelf here. So I'm going to clear one, and then I'm going to get everything organized, and then I'm going to move on to another shelf. The spices that I'm adding to these jars are ones that I have small amounts of and aren't the ones that I use on a regular basis. I do like to cook different ethnic types of food, so I always have many different spices that I don't necessarily use on regular basis, but I do like having them on hand in case if I do decide to make any of those recipes. I also like to make my own seasonings mixes, like taco seasoning or Italian seasoning, ranch seasoning, because I just find I can control the amount of salt that goes into them. And I already have all these spices on hand anyways to mix them all together. Don't typically buy too much canned goods, so I am going to utilize this top shelf for all the canned stuff. So I have things like coconut milk in a can, artichokes, and then I also have some plum cooking tomatoes. I usually try to figure out how many tomatoes I will need, and I will freeze them. I buy them at the market when they are in season, and I freeze them for cooking, but they don't typically last me all year long, because I don't have, even though I have 2 deep freezer, I don't have a big enough freezer for that. And then I also buy the tomato paste. I usually buy the organic one at Costco. I really like that one. And then for my strained tomatoes, I buy the passata, I think that's what it's called. I buy them in a jar. I wish I could buy more things in a glass containers, but this is pretty much the only thing that comes, when it comes to tomatoes in my area, that comes in a jar. So I'm using these clear bins to store all my extra sauces and canned stuff and things like that. And this small shelf on top was perfect for that. And then I'm going to use the first pull-out drawer and I'm going to add all those spices into this one. I'm gonna move on to my other spice shelf, and these are the jars that I had pretty much the only thing that I had organized when I was putting things back into the pantry. And I just want to elevate the back row a little bit so it's easier to see what's in there. I do love the look of these jars with these labels, and I would like to slowly switch to those, but right now it's just to switch to get jars for all the seasonings and spices that I have. It would be a lot of money, and I already had all the mason jars on hand, so this worked out a little bit better. I really like these tall glass jars because the spaghetti, as you saw, fits right in. And then the other glass jar that I was talking about with the flour has the rice in it. And then these jars, the glass jars with green lids, are actually jars that I buy peaches in from Costco, and they are a great size. They're a little bit touch bigger than the I think half-a-liter mason jars, which worked out really well for my soup, little soup squares noodles that I use that my kids love, and that's where I actually put quinoa as well. I feel good. So I'm going to put my ramen noodles, because we make our own homemade ramen soup, as well as my faux soup noodles, into the plastic containers. Now these are food safe. It's just like I was saying, I would like to switch them, but as you can see, I do need them to be quite large to do so. But I just like, especially ramen noodles, to keep them contained in a jar, because once you open that packet, they just spill out all the time and make a huge mess. So here is what the pantry looks like, starting off with my cookbooks. Then we move on to my jar stuff, and there are my peaches in the glass jar that I used for storage as well. I think this will work out perfect. I love the way the spice jars look, like I already said, and I also love the way the mason jars look with the little labels on top. We are starting off in my kitchen, and this had started off as a junk drawer at the very first day that the kitchen came in, and we've been just dumping stuff in it. I feel that it's too big of a drawer to use for a junk drawer, where I can use it in more of effective and productive way than the junk drawer. So I took everything out and dumped it into a bin. Some stuff that I knew was garbage I threw out right away. Otherwise, I was going to go through it once it was all in a bin. And then I wiped the inside of the drawer, and I used these mats that I picked up at Dollarama, but you can also get them on Amazon. And I cut them to size, and they're great to protect the drawer. And in here I'm going to keep all of my food wraps, my parchment paper, and then also my Ziploc bags. Eventually I would like to get those pretty organizers to do that, but I wanted to show you how it would look with Ziploc bags, but unfortunately I was all out of all of them. So you just saw the way it looked with an empty box. This is where all the food wraps and the Ziploc bags were, which was definitely not big enough drawer. So I'm going to swap these two around, and I'm going to use this one as a junk drawer. Again, I went ahead and cleaned it, emptied everything out. There wasn't much left, just a couple wrenches for our RO system and the faucets. So I need to find a home for those because we might need them. I picked up these bamboo organizers at Dollarama, and I was trying to see how they would work inside of the drawers. I am going to add a couple other things to it that I had on hand, but most of them came from Dollar Tree, and I have to say I was overall pleased with the way this drawer turned out.
Even if you tried, you wouldn't understand it. Maybe something's missing inside of you. Just a bit of sugar to that horrid bitter. Maybe you taste different. Hold up, baby. I can't sit beside you while you're going on about your simple life. Nothing left you thinking that maybe you're not different. I guess it never hit you. Our conversation takes two, paying it some interest from time to time. Inside all that greatness and all of your adventures, you're all alone. Hold up, baby. I can't sit beside you while you're going on about your simple life. Nothing left you thinking that maybe you're not different. Go on, blow up your ego.
Definitely looks a lot better than what it did before. Don't you guys think? I typically wipe my cupboards throughout the week several times just because they are white and everything shows. I did, however, go a little bit extra this time and going into all the little crevices of that little mission style design on them. To do that, I did put a butter knife, wrapped it just one layer over it just so it doesn't scratch, and got right into the tip of points of those drawers. That helped to get any dust that had settled in the corners. I am just using a method all-purpose cleaner. However, I did find that it was leaving a bit of streaks. So if you happen to have an MDF kitchen, because that's what all these new white kitchens are now, that you're painting, they're having painted, they recommend to go with MDF instead of wood because the wood separates where it's painted and then you end up having gaps. It's what I was told. So I am finding that it does leave little streaks, the method all-purpose cleaner. So if you have this type of a kitchen, let me know what you use to clean the cupboards. The island is oak, so I was using the method wood cleaner, and I was contemplating about using that on here as well and see what happens. Let me know if you have tried that. And I always start with my cupboards whenever I am cleaning my kitchen, deep cleaning my kitchen.
Started to change, 'cause there's no going back, no no going back, there's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying heights. Riding on the dizzying heights. Felt like nothing could stop us. Sunsets, remember the colors. They were wrong, it was way more than a dream. We climbed up, get over the hillside. So right, we stood there all wide-eyed. You and I, floating on air in my mind. 'Cause there's no going back, no going back. There's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying heights.
Whenever I'm recording deep cleaning, it does take me about an hour and a half to get this kitchen cleaned from start to finish. I am opening and closing the door about a gazillion times through my cleaning as well, which I'm sure adds time to it.
I'm standing on the dizzying heights. Everything so much better, riding high on your river. You and I, we're climbing way up together, standing on dizzying heights. You make everything so much better, riding high on your river. You and I, we're climbing way up together, standing on dizzying heights. There's no going back, no going back. There's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying heights. I'm standing on the
I was doing a few extra things today as well because this was the weekend before I started my home daycare. So I wanted to give it a really, really good deep cleaning. Just not sure when I was going to get to doing a full deep clean like this. Again, until I figure out my routines and all the things I have to do, it's going to be a little bit wonky as how things get cleaned. So I wanted to have it as clean as possible this time. I typically do have to clean these baseboards right here because this is where one of the dog's food bowls goes and the other one is on the other side. So I'm always dusting and cleaning this as well as their little trays. So once I was done that, I moved on to my stools over on the other side and did the same thing. I dusted them and I also used a leather cleaner for the seats. And then I proceeded in cleaning my island.
We're climbing way up together, standing on dizzying heights. There's no going back, no going back. There's no going back to your old life. Not living in the past, we're over that. I'm feeling it tonight, riding on the dizzying heights. I'm standing on the dizzying heights. We're standing on the dizzying heights.
So I had the dishwasher running already, so I just had a few dishes I wanted to wash up. And I also wanted to get rid of the fresh flowers. I tell you, those flowers are going to be the end of me. Every other week, my daughter gets fresh flowers from her boyfriend, and as sweet as I think that is, they just tend to sit there on my counter, and I'm not a fan. I know that a lot of people love fresh flowers, but I am just not a fan. So it drives me a little crazy. And I have taken them into her room, which I know she's going to bring them back down because she doesn't want them in her room either. But I just thought I'd let you guys know I'm not a fan of fresh cut flowers in a vase unless they are out of my garden.
Time to sort out all the fights, to sort out all the lies. Oh baby, yeah. There was a part of me that knew that, and still I'm caught by surprise. I thought you'd always be mine. I guess our dreams fell asleep. There's no passion in the comatose. Baby going down, 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 down. Baby going down, 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 down. Tried so hard to stay afloat. Yeah, we keep moving like the river goes. Baby going down, 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 down. Yeah. And I thought, it's time I'm letting you go. This time.
I'm sure most of you are familiar with this method of cleaning the microwave, but in case if you're not, I put a glass safe bowl full of water, turn on the microwave for about 5 minutes. You can probably do it for a little less. I just do it while I do something else, and then I turn it off, and then all the stuff that's stuck on it loosens up from the steam, and it works every time.
For sure. Just thought I should let you know. Now, no, it's no more, no. I got so high on a low. That's when I love you the most.
I have so much stuff on the counter that I need to put away because I already shared this video. I was decluttering some of my drawers and switching stuff around, so I took some stuff out and needed to declutter. Some stuff needed to go into a different area. They didn't belong in the junk drawer. I had a large drawer for a junk drawer, and I switched it up for a small one. There was absolutely no need to have the biggest drawer that I have used as a junk drawer. It's utilized a lot better for something else. If you have missed that video, I will link it in the description at the end of the video, so that way you can check it out if you want to. And of course, every time I try and do a voiceover, my dog decides to drink water, and it sounds like somebody's bathing right beside me.
Now I thought I should let you know. No, it's no more, no. I really thought we had it covered. Was gonna patch up all the scars, but we smashed up all the parts. Oh, na, na, na. Always knew that you were stubborn, but didn't know it'd be so hard.
In my old kitchen, I used to have a wood hood, and when we were redesigning our kitchen, I really wanted something different. I was either going to go with like a copper hood or a stainless steel hood. I didn't want to have a wood hood, especially not the one that's kind of built in and attached with the cupboards. If I would have went with a wood hood, I would have gone with a freestanding one. But we had come across this fan. It wasn't cheap, but the salesman gave us a pretty good deal on it because we were buying all the other appliances. And let me tell you guys, it works so much better than the fan that was in the wood hood. That one was, even though we paid extra as an upgrade for that wood hood, the fan that they put in, I'm pretty sure was just the cheapest fan they could find because the builder just included it with the hood. So it never really worked properly. And then when we did open up the kitchen when we were demoing it, it turns out the birds had nested inside the pipe and actually made holes in it, so it wasn't even venting properly. So having this hood now, it just makes such a difference when I'm cooking, especially when I'm cooking curries or with lots of onion. It just takes all that smell out. I am so happy that we had splurged a little bit on a better hood and gotten something that works so well. I'm always so particular with my house smelling like food, and this has definitely eliminated that.
To figure out who you really are. I guess our dreams fell asleep. There's no passion in the comatose. Baby going down, 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 down. Baby going down, 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 down. Tried so hard to stay afloat. Yeah, we keep moving like the river goes. Baby going down, 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 down. Yeah. And I thought it's
And as far as my stove goes, let me tell you guys, I am so happy with it. It works so good. The oven works so well, both convect and normal. I love having the 6 burners, even though I had proven my husband several times already when he said that I will never use all 6 burners. But when I'm cooking Sunday lunches or Saturday dinners, where we cook a lot of different meals and stuff like that, different sides and stuff like that, it does get used quite a bit. And as far as this fridge goes, I do love the look of it. I love the way I am able to organize it inside as well. It just feels so good to have a proper working fridge, because if you've been following along, you know why I have a new kitchen. It's because my old fridge flooded my old kitchen. And I'm not afraid to say I will never own a Samsung kitchen appliance ever, because I had nothing but problems from the beginning with that fridge. And I have talked about this in my last video about having my big farmhouse sink. I absolutely love having, this is the cast iron enameled one. It is cooler, and it's has a lifetime warranty for scratches and dings, I think it is. But I love the way it looks. I think it complements the kitchen so much, but let me tell you, it is a pain in the butt to keep clean. If you pour coffee on it and you don't rinse it off, it will leave a stain. Now, the stains do come off. They come off with creamy Vim with bleach, or which I use most of the time, is a Norwex paste, and that works amazing. But the amount of stuff that constantly shows up in it is so weird. Like, I always think, oh my gosh, my stainless steel must have been disgusting, because I'm always cleaning this thing, and because you can see it all the time.
We don't know us no more. We don't know us no more. We don't know us no more. No, yeah. I guess our dreams fell asleep. There's no passion in the comatose. Baby going down, down, down. Baby going down, 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 down. Tried so hard to stay afloat. We keep moving like the river goes. Baby going down, down, down. Baby going down, 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 down. And I thought, it's time I'm letting you go. This time I know it for sure. Just thought I should let you know that I know what's
For my quartz countertop, I use the granite cleaner from Method, and I love, actually, that's a granite polisher. I'm all out of granite cleaner, but for cleaning it, I do like using the granite cleaner. I don't use it every single day, but I would probably say about 3 times a week. Otherwise, I just use a Norwex a rag, or in Myrocloth, or I just use the all-purpose cleaner from Method to clean the counters on a regular daily basis. And then when I want to give the counter a really good streak-free finish, cleaning finish, I use the polish.
I got so high on a low. That's when I loved you the most. I thought I should let you know. Know us no more. We don't know us no more. We don't know us no more. We don't know us no more. No. We don't know us no more. We don't know us no more. We don't know us no more. No. Yeah.
Nobody told me to settle down. Day nights and late nights don't get around, but there's something about you.
To finish up the deep cleaning, I'm going to give my floor a good vacuuming, and then I'm going to also wash it. I am in such a need of a new vacuum. This is a Dyson, I think it's V10. And it's literally falling apart everywhere. I have overused this thing for sure. I'm looking at Dyson again, but I am considering the Tonico, I think that's what it's called. So if you happen to have one, can you please let me know your opinions on it? Do you think it's worth it? I know it is a bit cheaper than the Dyson, but I've heard people have good experience with it, but I would like to know if you guys have one and what you guys think. And for my floor washing, I use my Boma mop for it. These are vinyl floors that we have.
About you I like. You're crazy for saying I should slow down, but maybe I'm escaping the love we found. There's something about you.
It feels so good to have the kitchen clean. I know that every nook and cranny is wiped down and ready to go, and I was able to start my lunch already and dinner. Or was I cooking? No, I was cooking dinner, not lunch and dinner. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And I'll see you all in my next video. Thanks for watching.
About you I like. I get too drunk.